So much of what is happening right now is separating us from others and our own personal spiritual energy. This is duality.
This is making every word, every action into a thing that causes us to separate and judge.
What if we had the ability to be aware of our own energy field and the energy fields of others? See how we affect others and how we are affected.
What if we could make conscious, energetic connections, leave duality behind, and enter into a realm of no-thing?
A world where the focus is on seeing our energetic connections rather than judging our external differences.
The time is now for a shift away from duality to conscious connecting and no-thingness.
The change will happen through us, not to us. Hi, I'm Nancy.
And I'm Chris. And have you realized that the duality has hit the fan?
Yes, the duality is at the fan, and if it keeps going, if we keep looking at things as separate and not connecting everything, I think we're going to face extinction.
I would agree.
So we're trying to reach people to help everybody realize that they need to make conscious connections with people and see the similarities within us all rather than the differences.
The unity, the peace, the enjoyment of life, unless you want the opposite, which is, segregation and anger and hate towards people that don't, like the exact same things as you.
Mm-hmm. And the analogy that I always use is it's like we're all part of a body, a single body. And you may meet maybe a cell in the body and you're the heart cell. And you meet somebody else's, a heart cell, and oh my gosh, it's so easy. The conversation's so easy. Everything flows. But you're also connected to someone who may be, let's say, a lung cell. Just because they're different than you just because their perspective and what they do in their life is different, doesn't mean they're not part of the same body. And they work together. And if we don't realize that.
Well, and that makes me think, like I've got a lot of friends that are of completely different religious or spiritual or non-religious mentalities. And I don't ever really judge the fact that my Christian friend thinks this way and my atheist friend thinks this way. They're my friends.
Correct.
But what's important is that we come together and connect and find a way to express our energy in a way that's mutually beneficial.
Because if we realize how much our energy affects each other, it affects ourselves, but we are radiating it out, and it is affecting our environment, it is affecting everybody around that environment, it affects the environment even after we leave if we're feeling really potent at that time. And most people don't realize that. They just know that, oh my gosh, this person comes to this room and all of a sudden I feel uncomfortable or I feel comfortable. And they aren't aware of how that's like a ripple, that ripple of energy is affecting their energy, and you can control it. You can consciously affect people in a positive way.
And if you want to test this out, a simple test is just simply walking into a room with a smile and being happy and see how people respond to you. Or, you can walk into a room and with your glare on, your gangsta face, and see what happens, Big difference. Huge difference.
And that's just and even that's on the visual signals. But then you add the energy signals into that, it shifts everything. And if we keep looking at the things that are different and making everything into a thing, even in our lives or in other people's lives, it drains our energy. We're not centered. We're being drained by, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened to me. And then you start telling everybody about the thing that happened to you, you have just drained your energy. It's okay to discuss it one time, but if you keep going over and over and over a negative thing, you've made it into a duality within yourself. So there's dualities within ourselves and there's dualities between people. And we're really trying to stop that because that's what's going to kill us off.
Why do you think we need this right now?
And if you look at the world and you look at the news, everything is being compartmentalized in political, in social, in race, in gender, in country. I mean, I could just keep going on. I mean, if you look at everything as just being said this, that. You're over there and I'm over here. You're over there and I'm over here.
Everything's been splintered.
Everything has been splintered. And if you keep being splintered, if it's just like the sociology of humanity, the sociology of war, you can be controlled because you're not even conscious of it. So we really want to wake everybody's consciousness up of how things separate us. Duality separates us when we're really supposed to be weaving. You don't have to agree with someone that believes differently or views things differently. You can discern, not judge that that's a right or a wrong. You can discern that's different than I am. I'm happy with who I am, but I'm not going to judge you as right or wrong.
Right, and I think that's probably one of the biggest confusions pertaining to this whole idea of coexistence and mutual benefits working together, is that a lot of people assume that, well, doesn't that mean everyone needs to be the same? No. We're all different entities.
Parts of the body.
Working together.
In one body yes, exactly. We're different cells. And the more we learn about the universe, the more we learn about our own bodies and DNA, we realize how we are all connected. And it's starting to become scientific how things are affecting each other and how the electromagnetic waves of things affect us. So bring it to your consciousness, be aware of it, start playing with it, and realize you can cause things positive or negative. There's no judgment. If you're radiating a negative thing out there, even if you're not acting negative, but you're radiating this level of energy that's pretty negative, you're going to be creating more negative things to come into your life. But if you're radiating a positive one and you're consciously trying to connect with someone outside of yourself, that's the thing. Make it not a thing. If you're constantly thinking of you as a thing or them as a thing or this, what's happened to me as a thing, you are draining all your energy and no control.
And so I did this
for
a large part of my life. I feel like I did exactly what you were describing. I was thinking of myself as this thing, young, skater kid, like I defined myself like who I was as a person. And then without realizing it immediately, I was like, crap, I can't talk to this person over here
because they're in a different group.
In a different group or whatever. And it's every high school teen movie,
right?
That you've seen is where everything's splintered, everything's segregated, and there isn't enough working together, enough connection.
Enough weaving. And we're supposed to be weavers. We're all supposed to be weaving. It doesn't mean you have to become that other thread. It just means you have to work with that other thread.
Right.
It doesn't mean you have to believe what they believe or look at it the same way, but you look at the fact that you're both part of humanity and that connection is stronger than the fact that they're a different belief system or anything. And when you really lose your thingness, what really matters is the message and the connection. And I can share that story that's pretty phenomenal that happened in my life. Was I took my mother's dog to a vet, and my mother's dog was a little dog, and she would sneeze, and I would say, God bless you. Well, he had just looked at her. The vet had just looked at her. The door to the receptionist was open. The door to the vet was open. She sneezed. I said, God bless you. We live in a pretty strong Christian community here. And the vet said, oh, no worries. Thank you. You don't have to say that. And I realized he thought I was blessing him for helping the dog. And I thought, and I didn't want to correct him because it didn't really matter. So then I went out with the dog to the receptionist and I started to make a connection with her. And she started to open up about what was happening in her life personally. And I was just connecting with her like I do. And she said, oh, it was so great talking to you. I knew you would understand because I could tell you were a strong Christian. Now, I didn't get in the way and say I am or I'm not. I just said, well, I'm glad you feel better. I get in the car. I drive 5 minutes to a coffee shop. I get out at the coffee shop. I'm dressed exactly the same way. Nothing has changed. I get in line at the coffee shop, and there's this young girl, and I can feel coming from her that she's in a level of distraught. So I just kind of start a casual conversation. It turns into a longer conversation. She goes, oh my gosh, at the end, thank you for helping me. I knew you would understand because I could tell you we're a Wiccan. So in a matter of 10 minutes, I went from being a Christian to a Wiccan, and I didn't correct either one of it because it wasn't about me being a thing. I was not a thing. I didn't care, no, excuse me, I have to correct you because I have this little box and I'm in this little duality situation and you're over there. What was the connection with the person was what was important.
And that is what's important.
The connection with the person was what was important. And I didn't need to say I'm a this or a that to either one or correct them. Because that wasn't the point. The point was I could feel their pain and I wanted to help them as a person. So a lot of my clients they're all different belief systems, and it makes and different political and different everything, because that doesn't matter.
Because the roots of who we are as beings,
spiritual beings,
even if you want to just look at it as a simple human
human beings,
our roots are all connected.
They are all connected. And can you imagine if people could make those kinds of conscious connections with people, where you meet somebody and you don't immediately go into judgment, you discern, okay, that's different or whatever, but you don't go into judgment. You just go, okay, I wonder what I can share with this person and what can we, through a connection, a conscious connection, what can we grow? How can we grow? How can we learn?
I can't now because I do it. But back in high school, that wasn't my mindset.
No.
It was actually exactly the opposite, and I believe that's why in high school I had so much suffering. I felt so divided. I felt so alone. And then when I started to open my mind to just what other humans are doing, what they're doing in their lives, and making those connections, and seeing the roots that connect us all, my life became so much better.
So right now, everything is being divided.
Yeah.
If you look at the news, if you just look out in society, everything is being divided.
The last election.
I mean, just so much. We're all trying to be divided against each other, where we're not seeing the common humanity, the common essence of your spirit within each of us, that we're all part of the same body. And that is extremely sad. And that's what we're trying to address. That's really what we are trying to address in what we're presenting.
So what we've produced here is a series of discussions on spiritual, energetic, and the topic of no duality. We have 9 topics altogether, but before we really get into it, I just want to let everyone know we've got a free track for you to download. So if you like what we're talking about, just go ahead and download your track.
It's on relationships.
And it's on relationships.
Hot topic.
Which is a huge portion of our lives. I mean, let's be honest,
unless you live in a bubble.
I mean, that's really everything, unless you live in a cave.
Well, then you still have to have the relationship with the cave.
Yeah.
And your space in the cave. And your own space within your own head.
Mm.
So nothing is free of any kind of a relationship at all. Ever.
And what I've learned is personally, I like having the relationships I have with other people to help me realize where I'm at. Mm-hmm. Because for a while I did entertain the thought of going off and joining some,
monk.
Becoming a monk.
Me too. Becoming a nun or a hermit.
But I decided against it because I realized the relationships that I have in my life help me grow. Mm-hmm. For me personally, I feel like my relationships are the one thing that really make me realize where I'm at as a person and help me grow. So anyways,
why you're alive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because we're constantly being affected and affecting by just whoever we run into on any form of relationship. So one of the conversations is on the torus, its sacred geometrical form, and how to use this form in meditation. The torus is the electromagnetic field that is around you and around everything. And it's like a car you don't know how to drive. So it's already there. You don't have to create it. You don't have to visualize. You just have to realize it's there, become aware of it, and intend it. Have to intend it, meaning you put a spin on it, you start it moving, and it has a natural flow. It can be used in multiple levels. It can be used like a giant washing machine, where stuff that's stuck to you, like dirt clods, negative things that have happened in the life, negative things that people have said or thought at you, like dirt clods on your field, and you start it moving, and it actually works like a washing machine and clears it. You're never going to get rid of the things that happened in your life that were negative, because they happened. But they're not going to be like a shirt shoved in the back of the closet and haunting you. You're going to bring it out. You're going to wash it. It's still going to be there, but it's going to be cleaner.
But they're not ruining your life.
They're not ruining your life or making you respond in a way in situations where you're like, I don't want to respond this way anymore. I want to control my energy so that I'm not just responding in fear or...
You then have a choice.
You have a choice. And that's both really what both of us are about.
Yes.
In your music and in what I teach in the meditation and working with individuals is to empower people. empower them within whatever their belief system is. We're not trying to impose any form of a belief system on them, because there isn't a belief system. It's more like a science, and just understanding how duality affects us, how things, making things into a no thing, including ourselves, and how we can connect. It's empowering people, and they put it in their own belief system, in their own viewpoint, which is, I think, the most powerful way to do it.
Choices in unity. It's
Yes,
the best.
it is, because then you can still be who you are, but yet have a little bit more control rather than being controlled.
So I had fun with this one. A hot topic is sex, regarding to spirituality, being human in general. It can't be ignored.
And it goes a little bit into the dark side too.
It does, yeah.
It isn't
And
just talking about
here's the thing.
all light and fluffy.
I think that dark side needs to be talked about. We need to
does.
shine a light on that so that, people can see the problem.
There you go, talking about empowering people again.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We want to empower the individual to make a conscious connection with other individuals. And we talk about death in the afterlife too, which is pretty amazing. And that's just a perspective. Again, we're just offering in conversation a perspective. It doesn't mean like this is the right way that everybody has to view it this way, but it's very open and it touches on a lot of different perspectives. It isn't just like, this is the I can't even see with a straight face. But yeah, this is the one box, and you must believe this box, and there is no other box, so help me box.
So I had a lot of fears surrounding that subject, and admittedly, I still probably do. I have a little bit of fear around that. It's not completely gone.
Very human.
I think most people do.
Very human.
Because ultimately, a lot of people will tell you they know exactly what happens when you die and what comes later. But it's kind of
the great unknown.
Yeah.
But this talks about different perspectives on that subject from a very universal position.
Here's what I'll say about death and afterlife. After we talked that through, and I think once people really, really delve into that and they talk about it, it makes the fear dissipate.
Mm-hmm. You still have it's still unknown. It is still an unknown. You can't take that away.
Sure.
And because everybody's a different person, their experience of that may be slightly different than the other person.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But at least it is talked about and you don't feel as fearful. And that was one of our longer ones. That was an hour and a half or more.
Yeah. And these subjects, a lot of them are taboo because they need to be talked about, and no one's talking about it, or few people are talking about it.
Yep.
And
ego.
Ego, yes. One of my personal favorite conversations because the ego is the source, if you ask me, of our downfall.
The virus loves the ego. The virus that tries to infect all of us with duality really loves the ego.
And I think you can see it in the people that are darkened, that are infected, is that they're very, very egotistical.
And dualistic.
And dualistic comes with it.
Because they say this is my way is the only way. And I'm the only right way, which is sad. Really.
Boring.
Boring and sad, but it is sad too. It is.
It is, yeah. So another track we have is on manifestation, and it's probably the hottest topic
a lot of people talk
out
about
there right now.
Yeah.
My religious friends, my spiritual friends, even people that aren't really associated with anything. It's a huge topic because people want what they want in their life. We have desires. We need to pursue them in order to feel I want to say enjoyment, but even just satisfaction. That we had some purpose here while we're living our lives.
And when we talk about manifestation, it's more of like a formula of how you do it rather than from a religious perspective.
Yeah, so it's not a hard
any religion
thing,
right? Any religion can put what they feel into it. Any belief system can, because on all these we try and not ever look at it from. It's kind of a weaving of a spiritual and a scientific way, where it's not based upon a belief system, and so manifestation is based more upon just how it all flows, how it works, And then you put your own spices in there. Do you know what I mean? You put your own belief system and your own desires into the basic formula. So another one that we address is health, because everybody wants to be healthy, and how energy and what we feel and what we think affects your health, which sounds very simplistic, but
it's so true. And I'm involved in entrepreneurship now, and helping my friends start businesses of their own, online businesses. And one of the things that's, an entrepreneur will tell you is that they put so much energy into what they're doing. If their health isn't good, your chances of actually succeeding are really low. So health is there. And, one of my favorite quotes is something to the effect of a sick man has one wish. To be healthy.
Mm-hmm. And understanding.
Whereas a healthy person can have thousands of wishes.
And it goes into the energy aspects of that, how people drain you, and how situations can drain you, your energy, your health.
Yeah, because health is it's a large subject. There's a lot of things to talk about there, from exercise to diet, the simple things that most people are aware of.
That everybody, yeah.
And then there comes the energetic level, which we really tackle, because that is something that is a little harder to find good information on.
Yes, very hard to find just straight information on it rather than with a tilt.
Yeah.
We try to be tilt-free.
Tilt-free is good.
Mm-hmm. Try to be just kind of nothing, but a little bit of something that people can put in their soups.
Roots that anyone can add to their soup.
Exactly.
Good roots.
Good roots.
Like ginseng.
Ginseng.
Thanks for listening. If you'd like to take us up on our free offer, just click below.